Tonight, coming up in our Mello TV poll, pollster and CEO of Johnson Survey Research Limited, Bill Johnson, will analyze numbers on the approval ratings for shadow ministers with host NICOLE, political analyst Paul Bourne, and political commentator Linton Gordon. Mayor Delroy Williams toured entertainment establishments earlier today to ensure they are in keeping with safety protocols in the effort to slow the spread of COVID-19. Still tonight, PNP says its decision on Monday to inform Councillor Faith Sampson that she would be replaced as the party's candidate for the Johns Hall division in Manchester Northwest led to her decision to change party affiliation. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness outlines the new importance and value of technology in the lives of children amidst the challenges posed by COVID-19. Good evening. In breaking news tonight, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has announced 2 new cases of COVID-19 on the island, taking the total of infected persons to 753, while 603 persons have recovered. Coming up in our Mello TV poll tonight, pollster and CEO of Johnson Survey Research Limited, Bill Johnson, will analyze numbers on the approval ratings for shadow ministers. Also joining host NICOLE in the discussion will be political analyst Paul Bourne and political commentator Linton Gordon. In other news tonight, Mayor Delroy Williams and his team from the KSAMC toured entertainment establishments earlier today to ensure that they are in keeping with the safety protocols in an effort to slow the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. More on this story with Colleen May.
Mayor of Kingston Delroy Williams, with members of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation KSAMC, toured restaurants and entertainment venues in preparation for the reopening of the entertainment sector. Mayor Williams, in speaking with our news team, says that checking on these venues is necessary to ensure that they have been following the safety guidelines related to the COVID-19 pandemic.
As part of our job, we have been going around and checking some of the venues that are used frequently for entertainment events, and so we are having conversation with the operators, but at the same time examining the venues and looking at them in terms of capacity and in terms of just the logistics of people coming in and out of these venues, and just making some of the operators understand, and in the conversation in terms of what are some of the expectations that we would have in the event that when we do reopen the industry.
Mayor Williams also said that he is satisfied with the steps that have been taken by owners of several venues across the municipality.
I'm satisfied with what I've seen, satisfied with the venues, and also satisfied with the knowledge and the attitude of the operators of the venues, and they are all upbeat, they are all looking to restart, and they are all cognizant of the measures that they need to have in place. So we find that all the operators are quite aware of what the measures are and how to operate. As a matter of fact, if you enter any of these venues now, you would see that you have to sanitize, you have to have your temperature checks, and you have to wear your mask. And so they are already in the mode of compliance in terms of the measures.
In speaking with the Chief Executive Officer of Stone Love Sound System, Winston Powell, expressed that as the industry cautiously reopens, he is doing what is needed to ensure that all patrons at his events will practice social distancing.
And we are here at Stone Love headquarters, a place we weekly weather ready for the past 16 consecutive years. But since then, COVID, as you know, has been the main interruption. So we are here preparing ourselves for a reopening and to follow all protocols and abide by the law, this venue hold between 12 to 1,500. Definitely will have to be a reduction. Have to be a reduction due to the social distancing.
Chief Executive Officer of Ribby's Restaurant and Lounge told our news team that since the reopening of his establishment, he has implemented safety protocols that have been followed by staff and the guests.
Yes, we were ordered by the government on March 17th to close, and we are happy to reopen under the government guidelines. We are at a 25% staff. What we have implemented is the usual temperature check, sanitizing, and the customers must wear a mask coming into Ribby's and or the Acropolis. We are doing reservations, and also we have a capacity. We are at a limited capacity because we have social distancing based on the government guidelines. People want to eat, they're hungry, and they have been coming out, and we have been explaining the government guidelines and the protocols that you need to follow to come into the establishment.
Reporting from Mello TV News, I'm Colleen May.
In other news tonight, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says no country has been unscathed by the COVID-19 pandemic and the measures introduced to stop the spread of the virus.
A recent United Nations Conference on Trade and Development UNCTAD report has indicated that the world's tourism sector could lose at least $1.2 trillion, US that is, or 1.5% of global gross domestic product due to the pandemic. It further indicates that the loss could rise to 2.2 trillion or 2.8% of world GDP if the break in international tourism lasts for 8 months. So tourism-dependent developing economies are among those set to suffer the steepest losses in GDP terms. The report lists Jamaica as a country that stands to suffer the greatest economic fallout, with an estimated decline of 11% of GDP, and that is ahead of Thailand, which is 9%, Croatia 8%, Portugal 6%, our sister country Dominican Republic, Kenya, and Morocco, who all sit at 5%. This is not good.
Now, Minister Bartlett further emphasized that destination assurance will be a big feature for persons looking to travel.
People are going to want to visit places where they feel health levels are at the highest quality. So Gen C or Generation C will also want confidence that should infections occur, there are arrangements to take care of them, medical facilities, testing availability, and quick reparation. And these are new requirements, I think, for destinations, and Jamaica is working hard to put these in place. Hence our strict health and safety protocols, which have received World Travel and Tourism Council Safe Travel stamp, and that's a proud moment for us when we got that stamp. However, to build a truly sustainable tourism product, we must look beyond safety and security. We should not miss the opportunity to use tourism as a vehicle for truly equitable economic advancement. As we pause and reflect on our new tourism, or our new normal as we call it, we must ensure that the sector emerges from the confines of COVID-19 much better than before.
Still making Mello TV news, the People's National Party, PNP, says it was its decision on Monday to inform Councillor Faith Sampson that she would be replaced as the party's candidate for the Johns Hall division in Manchester Northwest, which has led to her decision to change party affiliation. Now, in a statement, the party says the three-term councillor had been declining in support and favorability, and a recent internal assessment confirmed that her candidacy would present a challenge for the upcoming local government elections due in November. The party says it met with Councillor Sampson on Monday, the divisional executive on Tuesday, and she resigned from the party. The party says it was therefore not surprised that this morning she wrote to the mayor of Mandeville, Councillor Donovan Mitchell, indicating her change of affiliation to the Jamaica Labour Party. The PNP thanks Councillor Sampson for her years of service to the party and people of the Johns Hall Division and wishes her well in her endeavours. The PNP says it is forced to listen to the voice of the people who have expressed their concerns about Councillor Sampson's ability to champion the seat on behalf of the party. The party says it will immediately proceed with a selection process to select a new councillor candidate who can offer leadership and direction to the division as demanded by the people of the constituency. In news from St. Catherine, the police there are investigating the circumstances surrounding the fatal shooting of 3 men who were killed this morning along St. John's Road in the parish. 2 of the victims are yet to be identified, while the third is said to be 25-year-old Rashid Vassal, otherwise called Bully, a customer services representative of Clayton Heights in the parish. Reports are that shortly after midnight, the men were at a premises along St. John's Road when armed men posing as police officers traveled to the location and ordered them to open their door. The men complied with the request of the alleged officers, who reportedly took them outside, ordered them to kneel, and shot them execution style. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, the wounded men were rushed to the hospital, where they were pronounced dead. In news from Clarendon, 30-year-old Vincent Williams, labourer of Windsor Road, Thompson Town, was fatally shot by unknown assailants at his home on Tuesday. Reports coming in to our news centre from the Maypen Police are that at about 11:15 p.m., Mr. Williams was in his yard when loud explosions were heard by his family members. The police were summoned and a search was conducted of the area. One Lorgan 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 6 9mm rounds of ammunition was seized. Williams was taken to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Still making news tonight, a male vendor was shot and killed at the Falmouth Market yesterday afternoon. The police are now in search of the male shooter and a female vendor with whom the now deceased had an altercation prior to his death. Deceased is 51-year-old Wayne Reed, vendor of Church Street in Lucy, Hanover. Reports from the police coming into our news centre tonight are that shortly after 8 a.m., Reed and the woman got involved in an argument at the market, which later turned into a fight. Other vendors at the market stepped in and quelled the dispute, but the woman left the market and was overheard threatening to kill Mr. Reed. Later in the afternoon at about 12:30, Reed was attending to his goods when a man posing as a customer called out to him from across a fence and asked the price of an item. Mr. Reed walked over to the man, who immediately brandished a handgun and opened fire, hitting him in the region of his chest. The gunman fled the area on foot, while Mr. Reed was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Still making news tonight, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is reporting that since the coronavirus outbreak in Jamaica in March of this year, it has cost the ministry over $3.3 billion in their efforts to contain the spread of the virus. The announcement was made by Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton during his contribution to the 2020-2021 sectoral debate in Parliament on Tuesday. Dr. Tufton says to date a total of just under $6 billion has been budgeted to the ministry for its response to COVID-19. He says the ministry has also leveraged a joint government approach to the pandemic while mobilizing the support of the people of Jamaica to help protect us all from the COVID-19 risks, including the provision of some $775 million in financial support to our health authorities to meet the needs associated with the response efforts. He also says that $89 million has been spent on infrastructural upgrades, including equipping hospitals with an additional 63 intensive care and high-dependency units, while $1.7 billion has also been spent on the provision of medical equipment, such as personal protective gears, PPEs, and COVID-19 tests. A further $500 million has been spent to procure prescription drugs through the National Health Fund. Still making news tonight, Prime Minister Andrew Holness outlined the new importance and value of technology in the lives of children amidst the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. More on this story with Tamara McHale.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, while speaking at the Balcombe Drive Primary and Junior High during the distribution of tablets to public sector teachers island-wide under the Tablet for Teachers program, says that technology has taken on a new importance and value within the household and in the lives of our children.
We are actually now using it as a tool for improving productivity and creating value. And I like that because, yes, we have viewed these instruments as appliances, as toys, as conveniences, but they are tools to create value and improve our productivity. So I'm not happy that it has taken COVID for us to embrace and utilize the technology, but that it has happened, and we are now understanding how these instruments can become tools of value creation. I think we are much better off for that. So the Tablets for Teachers program cost approximately 800 million Jamaican dollars. And each tablet is valued, I gather, at about US $200, which is fairly reasonable.
Prime Minister Holness further outlined how internet access per household have increased over the years.
The number of households with internet access increased from 34.6% in 2015 to 39.7% in 2016 and is now at 53.4% in 2017. So access is improving, but it makes the point. If access is improving and the capacity isn't improving, then what each person gets is smaller as access increases. So we need to have bigger pipes, as they call it, more fiber cables laid, more wireless connectivity, maybe even satellite connectivity, to give not just greater access, but improve quality and reliability of service.
For Mello TV News, I am Tamara McHale.
And those were the stories making news. I am Shelley Ann Hill. We'll now join Nicole HAYLES with Decision 2020.